Hello and welcome to TSK F1. This is your daily dose of sort of F1 news. My name's Rich, and please do make sure you're hitting that like button. Today we're going to be talking about Lando Norris jumping on Pirelli and their lack of performance in Australia. And I found lots of quotes from Michael Massi talking about the help he needed after Abu Dhabi 2021. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that, and I had a feeling that going with something talking about Michael Massi would get people, well, going. Let's just say that. That's what I figured. So let's start off, though, with Lando Norris and what he's been talking about. It's if I can find the actual page that I was on a moment ago, what he's been on about. Now, I'd seen the little quotes from Lando Norris, and he had said about Pirelli's not deserving to be at the top of motorsport and that they were pretty terrible. But I found extended quotes from him, and we'll see what you guys think to these quotes, and also that other funny stuff to do with Lando Norris that happened when he was live, I think, on Twitch. Where I've lost the quote. Right. He said, Norris said, the lack of grip on the new Pirelli tyres was causing serious problems for drivers. It's not a bad temperature, but the tyre doesn't work, and on the surface, with this track temperature, I can't describe how bad the grip is, he said. That's why you see everyone going straight on at turn 1 and locking up. But it's 65 degrees on the soft tyre, and it provides literally no grip. So you have to brake early, which causes chaos and causes incidents. If the tyres felt like they gave us some grip, we'd be able to see a good race without chaos and some clumsiness and things like that, but it's just difficult. I wouldn't say it's just clumsy from everyone, it's just that you're racing and there's no grip. It's as simple as that. So we need a tyre which gives us some more grip, and actually a tyre that feels like it should be on a Formula 1 car at the top of motorsport. And at the minute, on a day like today, it feels pretty terrible. Now, there are a couple of things in those quotes which well, we've got a couple of angles we could go here. He's basically saying that the Pirelli doesn't feel like it should be on a Formula 1 car. It's providing no grip and things like that. Now, to me, when he's talking about that, it immediately just makes me think that's done on purpose, right? And this is really something that should be thrown out to you guys, because you're the fans and you guys can have an opinion, and you guys can share your thoughts. That what is better for us as fans to see the drivers? We don't want to see, well, people will because they're idiots. We don't want to see massive crashes. But do we want to see tyres that give grip no matter the circumstance? Or do we want to see tyres that will give up and not just give a never-ending grip? Well, I don't know, Keith, because, you know, we on the soft tyre, especially this weekend, for sure, Max Verstappen and we saw actually the Mercedes and we saw the Ferraris all struggling on the tyres as well, especially the soft tyre. That we're having to do double warm-up runs and stuff in qualifying, weren't they, to get it done, generally speaking. So, well, but this is the thing. It works both ways, though, CPB. So one of the reasons why a lot of things were changed within Formula 1 was that the cars were too fast and had too much grip and downforce, right? That's the reason for the penultimate corner at Catalonia being removed in the first place and getting that really rubbish little chicane, because the cars were going too fast around there and there wasn't enough runoff. So it's a difficult one, because if you just throw grip at it, then you've got other safety concerns to worry about, like when those tyres do let go, because they've given the car so much grip, they've given the car so much more speed, you have to consider the runoff, the barriers, the absolutely everything in turn with that as well. So it kind of works both ways, doesn't it? Keith saying, we want tyres that have a bigger temp window. You can mess them up by spinning and being over aggressive, but not to an extent where you're tyre saving all the race. I think it's a choice, though, isn't it? It's a choice from the teams. It's like it. I would similarly put it like when we had fuel flow come into the sport, and it was 110 kilos or whatever it was. And everyone was on about fuel saving. This isn't Formula One. There shouldn't be fuel saving, blah, blah, blah. Fuel saving's been going on forever. It's just that we've got commentators that talk about it constantly. Fuel saving is not a new thing in Formula One. And in fact, the I don't know if it is an irony, but the irony of it, I'll say that, is that even amongst all that time, when people were complaining about fuel saving, the F1 cars were still underfueled. They were under their maximum fuel capacity because you get to a certain point and you get the weight penalty of carrying that extra fuel. So they run less fuel because it's actually faster to fuel save. But then people think that just putting more fuel in and just going for it is better. But that like now, I guarantee you none of those cars on that grid start the race with a full fuel tank. None of them do. None of them do. And I would go so far as to say none of them ever have. Because you have a weight penalty. And it's sort of the same with tyres. It's a choice, isn't it? So it's all about efficiency. And of course it's sort of faster. But like you can run 3 sets of soft tyres if you want to, but then you're gonna have to run a medium set of tyres. Just do quali laps, fully fuel it, do quali laps every lap. But that isn't how it works over time, is it? It doesn't work that way over time. And like really, like Australia, they were forced into a position where they were having to look after the tyres. I don't know. It's sort of a difficult one for me because I 100% don't want to go back to the days of no tyre changes. I do not want to go back to those days. Refueling, I don't care about. People do go on about refueling as if it's some kind of shining light of something that will bring back competition. I've never seen any logic in it, despite no one's ever really said why. They just say they want it back. I guess just for another variable in the sport. But I wouldn't want to go back to days of not changing tyres. But then it's still a balance, isn't it? Because where a team will... what would be the alternative to Pirelli? There is no alternative. Like we spoke about this on the show the other day. It's out to tender now for other tire manufacturers to join the sport, or it's going to be. But I don't think they're going to see much opposition. I'm not sure Pirelli's doing a bad job because okay. This is the thing. How do you do that? I'll go back to Keith's comment there. Bigger temp window. Well, I mean, I won't pretend I know about like the viscosity of like rubber at temperatures and stuff, but you can ruin them by being over aggressive, but not to an extent where you're tire saving all race. I feel like that's a choice, isn't it? This is what I'm saying. So if you put on the hard tyres, right, and you're going to lose 18 seconds by being on the hard tyres, 18 seconds, but you can do 2 medium stints, be faster, but be faster by, I don't know, let's say 5 seconds, but you're going to lose 25 seconds in the pits. you're 2 seconds slower. So they're going to put the hard tyres on and save them. And I don't think you're going to get rid of that trade-off at any point. I don't know how you'd get rid of that kind of mathematics and those kind of how they work things out, because that's what it's always about. What happens in the long run, isn't it? It's not about what happens in the here and now, right now. And I can't really say it any other way. I always enjoyed having at least 2 tyre manufacturers. Yeah, I just don't see it happening because of costs. It's completely against everything that Formula One's saying about, isn't it, these days with that. Why do it look like all the cracks starting to show in Formula One since the new publicity came about? What cracks? What do you mean? But there we are. That was talking about the tyres. You know, it is what it is with it, isn't it? We can all have an opinion on that. I mean, I'm sharing mine. You guys are sharing yours. I just don't know how you get to a position of being able to ruin them if you're overly aggressive, but also not have to save them. You know, I don't know how you get into that position with the tyres. But there we are. Now, what you all came for. What you all came for. Now, let me find the quotes. He said there was no grip in Australia, to be fair, but other than that. Now, I thought I would bring you these quotes because it's Michael Massi. We've talked about that loads. Don't know, mate. Don't know. We might do that at some point in the next month because I'm struggling already to find news stories. No one's saying anything in the F1 world. Apart from Lando Norris, has anyone seen the TikToks where he points at the helmets that he's got in his room and says that one's from when Lewis won his 8th title? And then realises what he said. But anyway, Michael Massi. Here we go. Quotes. And I'll read them out. He told a publication called Sport Mail. Michael Massi admitted he was a little nervous about returning to Formula One paddock. He says, "I was a little nervous on Wednesday when I first came in, but you've seen with your own eyes the kind of reception. He was getting booed a lot." And he explained that he told his family to avoid reading or listening to any media after 2021 season had finished due to it being a toxic place. I loved the job, but you don't realise the impact of travelling so much travelling has on you. When we last met in 2021, I literally lived on a plane. The joys of being able to cook a meal at home, being able to catch up with relatives are now open to me. And he says that being at home, being able to go and see a grandparent that's like 90 years old is a lovely thing. And then he says, when I stopped at the FIA, I told my parents those days are done for me. I told them after the Abu Dhabi fallout not to bother reading or watching anything. It's not healthy. The place can be a very toxic place. In many ways, social media can be a great tool, but not so great in others. I've spent time looking after myself. It's done me good. It's what I needed. I spent a lot of time getting into physical shape, but didn't spend enough on my mental side for a long while. There were people I was speaking to privately. My then partner, she was an amazing support, and my friends and family. As for professional help, I got that, but probably later than I should have, the latter part of last year, but things had largely calmed down by then. And I think it's really easy for everyone to. I know with how people are, they probably won't care. But it is really easy to forget that he was one dude. And there was a staggering amount of pressure. And I maintain, while it was his voice over the radio making those choices, I maintain there were bigger powers at play, and he was, well, to use an analogy, he was the puppet to someone else's puppet master, and it was, God knows, that amount of pressure, mad. He was there because I think it's because he's like the head of V8 Supercars now. He's the head of the V8 Supercars Commission in Australia, which is why he was at Albert Park. Now, I don't know if they still do, John, but they used to have a V8 Supercars round on the Albert Park weekend. So that it would make complete sense for him to be there if they still do have that tie-in event, wouldn't it, if he's the head of it? But I don't know if they still do. I know they used to, but again, I didn't see this year whether they had the V8 Supercars going on. But it would have, well, it's a tough one. Like, one thing I'd like to know, and I'm not gonna judge anyone. Do you have any sympathy for him? You know how he's literally saying there how he got like professional help in the end, like mental help and things like that. Do you have any sympathy for him? Like the only thing I think was he was a convenient sort. I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult because I can't help but feel if you're taking on that position, you should be well aware that the reactions are going to be horrific. Like, isn't it strange? Actually, I'm just trying to think. Isn't it strange that I don't actually, off the top of my head, know the names of the two race directors now. I'm sure, I feel like one has got like a Dutch type name where it's like Van der Kramp or something. But I actually don't know off the top of my head the names of the new race directors. And I bet that's I feel like it's a 100% on purpose thing. Like, you guys may know, but my observation in the whole is we all knew who Michael Massi was the moment he arrived, and we really knew who he was. He was a player in the game. Now, we don't really hear about the race directors. We hear that there's a decision being made and things like that. You know what I mean? But I've only just thought of this. There is a massive difference, isn't there? Does anyone else feel the same? Like, again, you may know the names. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I know that I'm pretty sure there's two race directors that are alternating now, right? But I don't actually, off the top of my head, know the names. But we knew Michael Massi every race, every single race. We knew who he was. We knew he was involved. I feel like, now I've just thought about it, that's a very clear and overt thing that F1 and the FIA have done, isn't it? They've just said, let's not talk about them. Yeah, there is that, Josh, which is a good thing. No, indeed. I'm not saying he didn't know what was going on. I'm not saying he didn't know what was going on. But you can imagine, or I can certainly imagine, people at the FIA, people at Formula One, at the top of Formula One, people, honestly, from places like Netflix, you can imagine the pressure to deliver a show then was a lot to bear. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing I've said. That's the only thing I've ever thought about him. I don't absolve him of all blame entirely, because he still said the words and things, but it was a choice made by people beyond Massi, and I've always thought that. I've always thought that. Massi should be left alone. He had Toto in one ear and Horner in the other. A rule book that gives multiple options, and he lost his job over it. Yeah, well, honestly, that's a perfect summation, isn't it, Keith? It's a perfect summation, isn't it? That, and I just think, I just think of like the human side of it, like everyone. The reality is as well, and people might not like this. Well, I don't know how else to put this. If you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, you didn't lose anything. If you're a Max Verstappen fan, you didn't win anything. But this other guy here actually did lose stuff. But people are on the internet slating him and he's worried about the effect on his family and things like this. You know, it's a bit mad, isn't it, how humans react to situations? It's a bit mad. If the race ended under safety car, it wouldn't have been it would have been an underwhelming end to a controversial and exciting season. That result would have detracted from new fans. Oh, I'll say what I said yesterday. Fuck new fans. Don't care. That's F1. Human error in sport is amazing, I think. Not to the degree I must say, but a little human error is good. Yep. Him taking the blame solely in the media, etc., was wrong. That, yeah. Like, I feel like if I was in Massi's position, I would have walked anyway. I feel like I'd have walked anyway, because I would have wanted some backup from my employer. You know what I mean? But they didn't. From my memory, I don't remember them particularly jumping to his defense. You know what I mean? And I'd have probably walked anyway, to be quite honest, because they showed. If my streaming and my content creation was ever big enough that I had employees, then if there was a defense to be had, I'd be defending them, or trying to save face for them and stuff. You know, not hanging them out to dry unless it was like really bad, obviously. But it's one of them, and we can talk this to death, can't we? Well, everyone needs a job, I suppose. I was surprised. Actually, you said something about salary. How much is the race director in F1 paid? Excuse me. Please don't. This cannot be real. Ooh, no. Holy crap. Right, I don't know the legitimacy of this. Both racing directors, the new ones, will be making $51,000 a year. No, that can't be it. That can't be it. No. $51,000. Look, I admit right now I'd love $51,000 a year. For that job, take it. See you later. See you later. Not a chance, mate. 51 grand for that job. 40k pounds for that job? Am I the only one thinking that is insanely low? Like, insanely low. But I am I'm staggered. That can't be right. That cannot be right. I can't believe that. I mean, that's staggering. I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this right now. Any ill feeling or judgment I had for Michael Massi has now disappeared in its entirety. I would never, ever, ever do that job for 40 grand a year. Not a chance. If he was really on £40,000 a year and got what he and all of that, no. Michael Massi, top man, don't give a shit now. Now I am fully sympathetic. I've just looked it up and I can see it. So there's a chance he was on less, by the way. I'm just saying there's a chance he was on less because the new ones are on that. So there's a chance he was on less. No, mate. Now again, I'm sickened by that. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was a lot more money than that. I don't know how much money I was thinking, but 40 grand a year for that. My head's just exploded on the internet. I'm not kidding. I am very, very wow. I mean, yeah, okay, you get your expenses and travel, right? I get that, but then again, what if those figures are false? I think they have to be. I think they have to be published. CBP. I think CPB. I think they have to be published. They're all over the place. Was his salary, but he actually earned between 1 and 5 million in events. Okay, let's see. How much did Michael Massi get paid? I've spelt his name wrong. I've put 2 S's in it. I don't know. I'm only seeing small salary but big bonus. That could, you know what? Because that is an F1 thing. That could be an F1. Well, it is an F1 thing. It's like they do that, don't they? Well, this is the thing, isn't it, Louis? It's the thing. I just read that. I've never looked at it before. I've never looked at it. That's something I'd want to know. I mean, it's none of my business, but I want to know now. Oh, in other money news, it was announced today that Toto Wolff has now exceeded 1 billion personal wealth. So that makes me happy. Fucking billionaires everywhere. Okay, if he's on millions, then okay. But I feel like it is one of those situations, isn't it? You know, it could be one of those situations where they're getting paid 50 grand and then you've just got all your, yeah, we can go back to hating him now. You've got all those KPIs like performance indicators, and you deliver this and you'll get a 200 grand bonus and stuff. I still feel bad that he took it solely as a frontman. I agree. I agree. Unless they gave him a couple of million and said, "Go away, please, Michael." Michael. Michael. Anyway, right. That is the end of this morning's stream because I'm just Googling how much money this guy makes while not making money myself. So let's go over. I'm going to be over on Twitch on Pit Lanes. I don't know what I'm playing today. I have absolutely no idea what I'm playing today. I've been thinking about that this morning. I don't know. But I will be live on Twitch on Pit Lanes very, very shortly. Thanks a lot for joining me, guys, and I will see you at 8 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock in the morning. See you later. Cheers.